This video provides a brief overview of a new service being released by the private sector members of the Fleet Response Working Group called the Fleet Open Close Service. This service leverages sensitive private sector operational data to improve emergency response efforts and business continuity efforts across the country, including Canada, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico. This service was tested and actually created during Superstorm Sandy. The states were looking for a way to quickly determine where the power was out. Partnering with one of our partners in the All Hazards Consortium was a company called Hughes Network Systems out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. They quickly provided spreadsheets of the status of their satellite links and DSL links to cash register point of sale systems around the region. As you can see from this slide, they provided us the sector, the company name, if the up or down status of the dish, the latitude and longitude points, the address, and what city and town and state it's in. This became critical information during the early days of Sandy. In fact, FEMA was working with the All Hazards Consortium on these daily spreadsheets to get them to the White House for daily briefings on the trending for the power outages that affected millions of people along the East Coast. Tested during Sandy, this application is no longer circulated through spreadsheets to hundreds of thousands of people. Starting in January, it'll be a simple online application which is secured. People will go to this page, select the information they want. As you can see, they can toggle between food, fuel, hotels, and pharmacy locations. And then below that, you'll see whether they want to see open, closed, unknown, or any status of locations as well. So this screen shows you the before, and this screen shows you the after when hotels of any status were selected. The green indicates the hotel is open or the dish is up. Yellow is any status. It could be intermittent or in maintenance. Red means it's closed. That's how you read the service. So it's very simple. There's very little training involved. In the future, we hope to add additional layers of ATM machines, federal data that may be restricted to public access but could be used for critical infrastructure, key hospitals that are in a specific region, that also additional power outages, not residential, but critical infrastructure at power outages at a water facility or at a manufacturing facility. And of course, retail stores are already involved. We want to add more of them as well. And then social media fusion, which is a way to bring in fusing in social media information to validate additional points of data. Backing up this service is a worldwide, very mature network management system run by Hughes that covers over 4 million terminals in 100 countries are deployed currently. They represent about 50% of the market share for the sectors we've discussed. These are all managed out of their North American facility in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So through a partnership with Hughes Network Systems and the All Hazards Consortium, the Fleet Working Group, the private sector members in the Fleet Working Group are using this as a way to route contractors, parts, and information into or around areas that are impacted by power outages and other critical infrastructure damage. This slide indicates some of the quantities in specific sectors, if you will, that are part of the service. You can see it's quite a number just on the pieces that we're testing. They have many more than this throughout the U.S. This slide indicates an example of some of the companies that are participating in this. Not all of these are on the service at the moment, but hopefully over time we'll have them all. But you can see it's a pretty good cross-section of data from the private sector. Some of the service benefits: it is a web-based application. It's available 24/7. It's updated every hour. They update it more often than that, but we'll be updating ours every hour. It's accessed via a browser. There's no special software for you to load, and you can use it from a tablet or a smartphone or a PC. The data is view only. For legal and competitive reasons, the service agreement is for view only, so no one's going to be able to download data files into their systems. There are too many systems to interface with anyway. So currently the offer is view only for situational awareness. It's for operational use only. This online application is closed to the public. That keeps the standard and performance high. Each user is provided an account profile that they manage on their own. We mentioned some of the business locations already involved, which are listed here. And we have secured this through username and password, which is a level 2 level of security. We'll be moving to level 4 security later on next year. It is made available only through the Fleet Response Working Group. So members will need to be an approved registered member for that. There's no cost to join that working group. There's a vetting process. The data, again, is encrypted for view-only purposes. There is a user license required for this, one license per user account, and it's a 12-month license. Rolling out the service, phase one will have current offering as is. Phase two will open up the service to potential state and local government, as well as adding finance, retail, medical, and other sector data, along with state and local relevant data sets, status of road closures and things like that could be helpful. Phase three will look at enhancing the security through a personal identity verification process used by the DoD and the Defense Industrial Base across the world. Over 50 million people use this. It's a very simple process used for a number of things, but specifically for identity management of sharing digital information. It's very secure, very successful, and we'll be adapting that into this model sometime next year. Also within phase three, we're going to look to develop a smartphone app. Assuming we can raise the funding and resources for that, we want to put this on a tablet or a smartphone to give an enhanced capability on a mobile platform. And phase four will look to integrate public and private sector exercises and planning, ability to store this, support training and exercises. Additionally, we want to look to drill deeper into this data to look at online inventory. So not only is the gas station open and closed, but how much fuel or diesel do you have on hand? Not only is the CVS pharmacy open or closed, but do you have insulin on hand? Do you have medical supplies? That data exists, but without a level 4 secure way to access it, that's never going to be shared publicly or with even privately. So we're hoping we can reach that level by bringing in our PIV-I level 4 security, and only approved people can see that data, and the approver is the data provider. So the data provider will have total control on who's able to see sensitive information. Under development now, we certainly have a number of efforts going on, but one of the big ones is a regional private sector concierge desk. The Fleet Working Group has been doing this for several years already, but this service would provide our access to individuals that could help resolve issues with states and local governments. We've seen this happen a number of times. The Fleet Working Group gets involved, it makes connection with the states, and they quickly route a fleet, in one case from Ohio to North Carolina in record time, just by coordinating through this help desk, by coordinating regionally with private sector to route fleets quicker, faster, and to share information or remove obstacles. And as we mentioned, enhanced security option for sensitive information sharing. That's the PIV-I pilot. Department of Homeland Security Science and Technology has already invested in one of our partners, TSCP, who's building a secure PIV-I collaboration cloud just for the Fleet Working Group. TSCP runs the service, if you will, for the global enterprise within the Defense Industrial Base, and we're partnering with them to do this here for the Fleet Working Group. I won't go through all of these. There's benefits from a reliability standpoint. The daily usage and monitoring, this service is very simple. There's no training required from the daily usage and monitoring. We want it to be simple. We use it during blue sky days, during black sky days without any additional training. The two on the bottom are probably the most important. Is situational awareness is key. We want to use this service to focus specifically on specific issues within the Fleet Working Group. So we want to allow users the visual gauge, if you will, to look at geographic impacts of power outages. So where are they, how are they impacting, and what else is being impacted? So this could be at a zip code, at a county, at a region of counties, at a state, multiple state, or nationwide. We also want to synchronize public-private sector awareness of a situation. This is important that everybody's looking at the same information at the same time. Now, this isn't for all problems. This is just for problems that have been identified by the Fleet Working Group. Lastly, we want to be able to provide trending. Is the power outages spreading or is it decreasing? This is an important thing for both public and private sector to know. On the public awareness side, we want to use this service to help our mayors and county executives and governors, when they stand before the cameras, to have information in front of them to tell citizens, hey, we know the power's out over here in your area, but if you go to this area here, the chances are pretty high you can get a cup of coffee and get gas in a hotel room. This service will allow them to do just that. Lastly, we're looking to use this within our training and exercise portfolios, where we can capture this information, use it as historical data, both before and after an event, that we can get snapshots of situations around the country or within a region and support tabletop exercises in the future. This disclaimer basically addresses the legal issues we faced during Sandy. This disclaimer basically states that if you look at this data, you use this data in any way, shape, or form, that you give up all rights to sue anyone for anything. So this is important when you're sharing sensitive information. You might have blowback where somebody goes to a site, it's supposed to be open, it was closed, and they file a lawsuit for whatever reason. This holds harmless the data providers when they're using this service within the fleet working group. Operational assumptions are very simple. You'll note as you read through this is all based on about 80-85% accuracy. If the satellite dish or DSL line is up, we assume the power's on. If it's down, we assume the power's out. It's not perfect, but it's fairly close and it worked very, very well. Next, we want to look at a couple of case studies that we used during storm and flood activity in 2014. This was used during September 8th storms in Detroit. We used this to determine where the power was out so that utility crews coming into the area might be able to know. Also on September 8th, we used it in Arizona for some flooding. One of our financial institutions is using this to support the deployment, if you will, of their essential personnel. It's key when you go into an area to know where can you get gas or a hotel room or food or whatever when the lights are out. So this is a good example of how this service can be used for operation usage in the private sector. At a local level, here's Montgomery County, Maryland, before and then after. It shows you the locations in that county that are a pharmacy, food and fuel, and hotel. Then we zoom out to the national capital region, the Washington, D.C. area, which includes Montgomery County, and then surrounding counties in Virginia and Maryland. So this is a good example of during ice storms or the derecho that happened in 2012. This could be a tool that help inform leadership to inform the public of where they could get resources here. Another county we looked at is Arlington County, right outside Washington, D.C. Once they're checked, it gives you an idea of what resources are available, if you will, within their county and the surrounding county, and then back out again to the national capital region. Now we want to look at how do you access the service. It's very simple. It'll be an online process. First, you go to the Fleet Working Group website at fleetresponse.org. Open under the product services, you'll see Fleet Open Close Service. You'll click on that and be taken to a web page that'll provide you an overview. You can watch a video demonstration, or you can click the Apply Now button, and you'll be routed to the next step in the process, which is an online application. The application is filled out, press Submit, and an email is sent right to the program office, which validates you're a qualified user for this service. There's two methods of payment. If you're approved and you need an invoice pay with a check or a PO, we send an email out for access using that, and it takes a little longer to get the process through the paperwork on the client side. For those that need immediate access, there's an email sent, and you can link over to our instant and online secure credit card payment process. If you use that, you go to this form, you fill it out, it describes what it is, costs, and so forth. You click on that. Next step in the process is you're sent an email that basically validates, yes, you've been accepted. This confirms it. Here's your membership information, your emails used, and your temporary password, and a link to the web page for you to log in. When you click on the link, you'll be taken to the online page here for the portal. You log on using your username and password provided in the email. And that takes you to a website page where it provides you a quick overview. You can launch into the service by clicking on the picture, or you can click on the links below. You'll also notice down below there's a YouTube video that provides some initial training on how to use the service. You go into the website. It comes up blank like this. You select what you want to see. You select the status of what you want to see. We selected hotels, and any status, it'll populate. Then you can zoom in and out just like we've shown you before. So that concludes the video. If you want more information, contact information on the website is listed on this slide.